Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our gentle yoga class. Um, in our series, we are on the third yama, so traveling on our journey through the yamas and niyamas, yoga's ethical practices. I'll be reading some quotes in the from the book by Deborah Adele. And so, actually, we'll just begin. So, feel free to come to lying on your back if you like, or maybe you find a comfortable seat. And just take a moment to settle into the present moment. You might close your eyes or soften your gaze. And maybe you can take a moment to scan the body, starting with the crown of the head. You can work your way down through the face, the jaw. See if you can sink the shoulders a little away from your ears. And then continue maybe offering gratitude and noticing along the way. Start to allow your breath to deepen, allowing yourself to let go of any thoughts of the past or plans for the future, coming into the present moment. And the third yama is called Asteya, which means non-stealing. In the book by Deborah Adele, she says the third jewel, Asteya, or non-stealing, calls us to live with integrity and reciprocity. She goes on in the book to talk about the ways in which we might steal from others, the earth, the future. And I thought I would focus on ourselves. She says, in all the ways that we impose an outside image of ourselves onto ourselves, we are stealing from the unfolding of our own uniqueness. All demands and expectations that we place on ourselves steal from our own enthusiasm. All self-sabotage, a lack of belief in ourselves, low self-esteem, judgments, criticisms, and demands for perfection are forms of self-abuse in which we destroy our very essence of our vitality. All the ways we live in the past or future steal from ourselves. All the ways we put up fences, whether real or imagined, around our physical belongings or our mental idealisms, we put up barriers that steal from the full expansion of our own lives. We are captured in a culture where our very identity is tied up in our accomplishments. We can wear all we have to do like a badge on our shirt for all to see. In this rush to get to the next thing, we have left no time for ourselves to digest and assimilate our lives. This might be our biggest theft of all. We need time to catch up with ourselves. We need time to chew and ponder and allow the experiences of our lives to integrate. We need time to rest and to reflect and to contemplate. So, if this idea of non-stealing speaks to you, maybe you can use it today as an intention for your practice. Thinking about savoring your own uniqueness, allowing yourself to rest into this present moment. And then feel free to move onto your back, either onto a bed if that's more comfortable to get up and down, or gently make your way onto the floor as best you can. And we'll start out, hopefully you have something that you could possibly use as a strap and maybe some blocks handy. And then feel free to even pad underneath your head with a blanket, or maybe even on the low back if it's tender. So as you come down onto your back, feel free to walk your feet as wide as your mat and just take a moment to rest your hands on your belly as your knees tent in towards each other. Allow yourself to savor this moment right now in the present. Maybe finding gratitude for carving out this special time and place to give yourself that space to rest, reflect, and contemplate. And then we'll spread the arms out into a letter T shape, and you can start to windshield wiper your knees gently side to side. Maybe these are soft, small movements. Thinking about what you need, or you can open the knees out wide so your feet are out to the sides of your mat perhaps, and you might even allow the knees to fall onto the earth, pointing one knee down towards the opposite foot. And you could start to tilt the head gently side to side, almost like you're shaking your head gracefully no. Maybe this gentle no is like practicing saying no. Start to deepen your breath as you send your breath into any areas of tension or holding. And then the next time your knees fall over to the left, allow them to stay right there. And you might turn your gaze over to the right, sending a nice deep breath up and down the length of your twist. And just notice your thoughts. You might imagine your thoughts as like clouds passing by overhead. Just allow yourself to observe them without judgment. Thinking of this as a practice of letting go, a practice of non-attachment, allowing yourself curiosity and compassion. And then we'll gently lift the knees back up to center, allow them to glide through center and then fall over to the right. You can turn your gaze over to the left. Make yourself comfortable so you're not forcing anything, savoring your own gentle uniqueness and what feels right for you. Can you allow your breath to deepen and explore any areas of sensation in the body? Imagining you could direct your breath there. We'll take one more nice deep breath on this side. And then on your next inhale, you can come back to center. Maybe if you have a strap, you could also use like a kitchen towel or maybe the robe. What is that? Like the sash on your robe. And then we'll hug the knees in towards the chest. You could also just use your hands here. And start to draw some circles with the knees. Imagining you could feel that massage along your low back. And just notice the sensations there. When you're ready, we'll reverse the direction of those circles. And as you explore this movement, maybe you can see where the movement radiates to in your body. Are there places that might be unexpected? And then we'll come back to center. We're going to keep the strap now and wrap the strap around the ball of the right foot, extending that right foot up towards the sky. You might even take a moment to allow the strap to graze the bottom of your foot, so gliding it back and forth. And then allow for some ankle circles. You could do this with or without the strap if the strap feels like it's in the way. So just rotating the ankle in one direction. When we do this, we can help to lubricate the joints. And then go ahead and reverse the direction of your ankle circles. And then when you're ready, we're just going to rest here in this extended leg pose. If you want to deepen the stretch, maybe you glide the left leg long. But you could also keep the knee bent. You might even, if your strap is long enough, wrap it around your hands. So you can think about letting go of extra holding. You might even rest your elbows on the ground. Noticing how much ease you can find. Letting go of tension in the neck, the shoulders, the jaw. And then totally optional here, we're going to open the leg out to the right. So you can bring the strap into the right hand, maybe even hold the tail with the left hand if you want more support. And then allow the right leg to open out any amount. If you're in a closed kind of space and you have a wall next to you, you can use the wall for support to rest your leg on the wall. And you can give a counterbalance by opening the left knee out to the left. Or if you've slid your leg long, then that won't really be an option here. Once more, give yourself a moment to settle, resting into the shape. Once more, notice where you can let go of extra effort or tension. And then when you feel ready, we'll lift the leg back up to center. This time you can move the reins of the strap into the left hand. Bring that left knee back up to center and then just allow the right leg to gently cross the midline. So we're not going for a twist here. Just finding that stretch along the outer edge of your right leg. Go ahead and take one more nice deep breath, just like this. And then we'll bring the leg back to center. Take a nice long body stretch if you like, reaching your arms past your ears, maybe stretching your legs long. And you might once more rotate your wrists and your ankles. And then when you're ready, we'll come back to center, come back to stillness, and just take a moment to notice any subtle differences from left to right. And we're going to give the left leg its turn. So you can wrap the strap, maybe bend both knees in order to make it more accessible. We'll wrap the strap around the left leg. You can find a gentle massage for the bottom of the foot by gliding the strap, flossing it front to back, or side to side, really. And then maybe you find some ankle rotations in one direction and then reverse the direction. And then we're going to stay with the leg lifted up towards the sky, finding a stretch along the back side of the leg. You can maybe wrap the strap around your hands. Allow the elbows to rest at your sides. We'll take one more nice deep breath like this. Feel free to lengthen the right leg if that would feel like more beneficial. That would deepen the stretch. And then when you're ready, we're going to open the left leg out to the left. As a counterbalance, you might allow the right knee, if your leg is bent, if your foot is flat on the ground, you could allow the right knee to open, finding a stretch through the inseam of the legs. Let's take one more nice deep breath here. And when you're ready, you can lift the leg back to center. Bring the strap into the left hand. Allow the left leg to cross just the midline, finding any amount of stretch that feels good for you. When you're ready, you can bring the foot back to center, and then with control, allow it to glide back down to the ground. Find that long body stretch and rotate the wrists and the ankles. When you're ready, we're going to float the hands back down towards the hips, plant the feet on the mat, and then walk the heels in towards the sit bones. You can hug the elbows in towards the rib cage, pointing the fingertips up towards the sky. We're going to take a few rounds of bridge. And this is kind of a strengthening pose. So when you're ready, you can plant your heels, start to press your heels into the ground. Use the strength of your glutes to lift your hip points up any amount. Tucking your chin towards your chest, and then exhale, allow your spine to roll back down one vertebrae at a time. Inhale, we'll lift into bridge, and exhale to lower. Go ahead and take a few more rounds like this at your own pace. You can start to hold your bridge for a few rounds of breath if you like, or just move in and out with the pace of your breath. Now, on that next bridge, if you'd like to hold it, you could also release the hands underneath you and shimmy the shoulders under to interlace your hands under your low back. Or maybe you want a supported bridge. And if you have that block, you could always slide a block underneath the low back to rest in a supported bridge. And this is a nice gentle inversion here, a supported bridge. So feel free to stay in that active one if you'd like a little bit more challenge, or come into the supported one for a bit of a rest. If you want to turn this into more of an inversion, you could extend your feet up towards the sky, but that might be a little bit more intense on your low back. And just give yourself a nice opportunity to rest here. Softening into support. We'll take one more nice deep breath. And then on your next inhale, you can press your hip points up, roll your spine all the way back and down, and then hug your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a little hug. Maybe roll your nose up towards your knees, curling into a ball. Take a nice deep breath and then release that. We're going to come into a dead bug position. So you can have your elbows stacked above your shoulders, your knees stacked above your hips. And this is kind of like an upside down tabletop position. Now, you might already notice the strength that is required from your core, how you're needing to draw your belly button towards your spine and press your low back towards the mat. So we're doing a little bit of strengthening of our core here, just holding the dead bug. If you want to include a little bit of flow and movement, you could extend your left leg long, your right fingertips up towards the sky, and maybe you go ahead and switch sides, oscillating opposite leg and opposite arm for a cross body movement. A third option would be an upside down bird dog. So that would be reaching your left arm long to hover over the earth, reaching the right leg long to hover over the earth. So this might be a little bit more challenging. So feel free to choose your own adventure here. And we'll just do this for a few more rounds of breath. Whenever you feel ready to release that, go ahead and let it all go, taking a nice long body stretch. And one of the reasons why I like to include a little bit of core strengthening here is because this can help strengthen and support our low back. When we strengthen our core, we help support our low back. So if we get that low back tenderness. Now we're going to come back into our hands and knees, our feet back on the mat. You can extend your arms out into a letter T. Walk your heels in, press your feet down to lift your hips slightly, and then move your hips over to the right so you can stack your knees to the left, and we'll open up into a twist. You can turn your gaze over towards your right hand. Your knees are over to the left. And just take a moment to really savor and enjoy the twist. Allow your breath to cascade down the length of your spine. And when you're ready, we're going to roll all the way over onto our left side. You can either prop your head up on your hand, or you might slide a block or pillow underneath your head so you can extend your left arm long. Now we're going to do a little bit to strengthen the glutes. So you can glue the heels together. Inhale to lift the top knee, exhale to lower it. Find a few rounds of clamshells. Once more, just following the pace of your own breath. And as you find this movement, maybe you can send your breath and gratitude deep into your hip joint. Thinking about how you can feel grateful for the glutes and the hip that support you in your movement every day. You can move as quickly or slowly as you like, feeling free to pause anytime the muscles feel fatigued. And that will be it for me. So when you're ready, we'll extend the legs long now. Sorry, the knees, so they're in a straight line with the body. Then you can lift that top knee and lower it out in front so you can feel a stretch through the glutes. Maybe you start to lean the right shoulder back and find a twist. And then this other movement is optional. So you might bring your right hand to your right shoulder. Your shoulder's not going to meet the earth, but you could just lean it back. And then this one is called cat chasing its tail. You could reach around with your right hand to maybe grasp hold of your left foot. Maybe you find a nice quad stretch there. Totally optional. If it doesn't quite reach, that's okay. You can omit that part, or you could use your strap to lasso the foot if you really want to reach for that stretch. And just allow yourself to soften here. Take one more nice deep breath. And when you're ready, we'll release that side, letting go of the foot. We're going to come on to the other side. We're going to get it ready for the other side. So I'm just going to rotate over to the other side. We're going to get ready for our twist. So just take a moment to soften onto your back. Press your feet onto the mat. Press into your heels to lift your hips and then bump them over to the left so you can allow your knees to stack over to the right. You might open your arms into a letter T, sending your gaze over towards your left hand and allowing your breath to make its way into any areas of sensation. Breathing into your own uniqueness, giving yourself that opportunity to rest. We'll take one more nice deep breath on this twist. When you're ready, you can roll all the way onto your right side. Maybe use your hand to prop up your head for support, or rest your head on a pillow or block. Then we're going to find those clamshells on this side. Inhaling to lift the knee, exhaling to gently lower it. And follow the pace of your own breath. See if you can send gratitude, compassion, and curiosity into the hip joint. When you feel ready to be done, you can close down that movement, slide the knees back so that they're just in a straight line with the body, and then you can lift the top knee, lower that knee down so that you can find a stretch maybe through the glute, the hip. And then you can turn this into another kind of twist by bringing the left hand to the left shoulder and just allowing that left shoulder to sink back. Maybe you reach down, and it might be different on this side, but you could reach down to see about grasping hold of the right foot for a little quad stretch for the right quad. Remembering that everything is optional. We'll take one more nice deep breath here. Soften and relax. And then when you feel ready, you can release this side. Maybe give a little squeeze, a loving squeeze to the toe. Release the foot. We'll roll onto the back and just take a moment to pause. Pressing into the heels, you can straighten the spine, lengthen the spine down, just to find neutral for a moment. And then we're going to be coming to a seat, so you can either hug your knees into your chest. If that feels okay, you might rock and roll up and down the length of your spine a few times, or feel free to roll onto one side and use your arms to press you up to a seat. Now, to sit on the ground, you might take a blanket and fold the blanket and make a little pillow, like a wedge, to sit on. And then when you're ready, you can either come to cross-legged or extend your legs out in front. Remember, you always have the option to sit in a chair if you prefer. And then from here, we'll lengthen the spine and then exhale. Allow your head to bow towards your heart. This time on your inhale, you can sweep your right ear towards your right shoulder. Exhale, bring your gaze down towards your heart. And then inhale, sweep your left ear towards your left shoulder. And maybe you want to gently move your head like this a few times from side to side. Sending your breath to any areas of tension or holding. After that last round, go ahead and bow your head towards your heart and then roll your shoulders up and back as you lift your gaze to center. Now we'll extend the right foot long, bring the left foot towards the inner thigh. And if you have some blocks, where it happened to mine, here's one, it's just one. You could frame your right leg with the blocks, or just use one if you'd like. And we'll turn towards that leg. You could also use a strap here and wrap it around the ball of the foot. We'll inhale to lift the heart, exhale to bow over the right leg. Either reaching your hands towards your toes, or you can rest your hands on the ground or on the blocks. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to fold. You can take some nice deep breaths here, just noticing anytime you might round over that leg. And then when you're ready, you can walk your hands back up to center. Now we're going to turn the torso towards center. You can start to glide your right hand down your right leg. Maybe you bring your left hand to your hip, or feel free to reach the left fingertips up towards the sky as you arch over your right leg. And then here, you could also use a block maybe to rest your elbow on the block, your head on your fist. And you're really just finding a side stretch on the left side. Feel free to stay here in stillness, or maybe you want to find a little bit of movement with the arm, reaching the fingertips down towards the toes. You can start to glide a nice big circle with the left hand, reaching it down and around and back up. You might follow the fingertips with your gaze, and maybe feeling a gentle rotation for the neck and shoulder. The next time your left hand comes up towards the sky, let's use the strength of the core to reach both hands up. And then on the next exhale, you can bring the hands to the heart center. On your next inhale, go ahead and reach both hands up. Now I'm going to bring this block around behind me, behind my left side, and then you can reach your right hand up, and maybe you reach it across towards your left knee, or press against the inner thigh to find a twist. Turning your gaze past your shoulder, peeking behind you. With your inhale breath, extending your spine long, growing the crown of your head up. As you exhale, a little twist around. And I'm using the block underneath my left hand for support. And now we're just going to only move the head. So imagine that your gaze can bow towards your heart, allowing your head to bow, gliding your chin above your chest, and then you can turn just your gaze over towards your right toes. Take one more nice deep breath here, and then we'll release this side. Coming back to center, you can stretch both legs long for a moment and just allow the legs to oscillate side to side. And then we'll go ahead and bring the right foot to the inner thigh. Turn the gaze towards the left toes. Turn the torso towards the left toes. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to fold over that leg. Either using the strap to draw you closer to your feet or just framing the hands around the leg. You could also use your blocks here to prop your hands up. Or maybe one block. With each inhale breath, lengthening the spine. With each exhale, folding a little further. You might gaze lovingly down at your foot. Thanking it for all the places it's taken you. At any moment, feel free to round over that leg. On your next inhale breath, we'll press ourselves back up. We're going to find that side bend. So you can prop up your block next to your leg if you'd like, or just glide your left hand down the inseam, bring your right hand to your hip, or float it up towards the sky. And I like to balance my elbow on the block, rest my head on my fist or my palm. And you can reach, 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 find the side bend here. Maybe you find a little circling with your hand, reaching it towards the toes and then gliding it back up and over. And you might even follow your fingertips with your gaze. The next time your hand reaches up towards the sky, you can use the strength of your core to reach yourself tall, and then exhale, draw your hands to your heart center. Now we're going to find our twist. So inhale, reach your arms up towards the sky. Exhale, you can bring your right hand behind you. Press your left hand to your inner thigh or cross it over towards your right knee. Inhaling to lengthen, exhaling to twist. With each inhale, growing the crown of your head taller towards the sky, each exhale might twist you a tiny bit further. And then on your next exhale, just allow your gaze to fall towards your chest. Allow your chin to hover over your heart, and you can turn your gaze over towards your left toes. Saying hi once more. When you're ready, you can release the twist, coming back to center, maybe opening the legs out, giving them a little shake, a little rub. And then feel free to come into hands and knees. What can be kind of fun is if you fold your legs into that crisscross shape. Sometimes people, I used to be able to do this. I'm not probably going to do it today because of my knee, but you can roll over your shins and come into hands and knees this way, or come into hands and knees however you like. If you like to stay in a seated position, we can do our cat and cow from this position too. So we'll inhale to lift the heart forward, exhale to round the spine back. And if you're in your hands and knees, feel free to do this there as well. Feel like you're polishing the vertebrae of your spine, just noticing. After a few rounds of breath like this, you might find some circles with the belly button. Just like you were scooping out the inside of a peanut butter jar. Next time your heart comes forward, feel free to reverse the direction of your spinal circles. When you feel ready, we'll come back to center. You can either pause in a child's pose or a downward facing dog. So, as I mentioned, I'm skipping being on my knee for today still. So, I'm going to come into a downward facing dog by avoiding my knee carefully and pressing the hands either on blocks or on a chair, lifting up. You might sashay your hips a little side to side, pedaling through the heels. And you could skip it all together if you'd like. We are eventually going to land on our bellies. So I'm going to use my OK knee to land my knee and then press all the way down onto the belly. Give yourself some space. Extend your legs one at a time, maybe rolling side to side, untucking your toes. And then you can stack either your hands or your fists to make a little pillow for the forehead. Maybe you bend the knees and allow the heels to gently sway from side to side. And then when you're ready, go ahead and return the tops of your feet to the mat. We'll slide the hands so that they're right underneath the shoulders. And then you can inhale, roll the shoulders up towards the ears, glide the shoulder blades down the back. And with a light touch with your hand on the ground without pressing too much, you can lift the heart into a baby cobra. On your next exhale breath, turn the gaze to the left and either land your temple on the ground or you might recruit a block if the ground is feeling far away. I rather like this little bit of tension or pressure against the side of my head. Feels like a nice stretch to me. And then we'll do that 2 more times on each side. So inhale, glide the shoulder blades up as you lift the heart. Use the strength of your spine and your core to find baby cobra. And then on your exhale, you can turn your gaze this time to the right, landing your temple on the mat. Now, if that's too much stretch for the neck, you could also just bring your forehead down to the mat. Inhale, glide the heart open for baby cobra. Exhale, turn to the left. Inhale, rise up for baby cobra, lifting the heart. Exhale, turn your gaze to the right, soften your effort. Go ahead and take one more round like that on each side. So 2 more baby cobras, strengthening the muscles of the back and the core. And after that last round, we can come back to, this is called crocodile pose, Makrasana, either stacking the palms, lowering the forehead down to the back of the hands, or stacking the fists to create a little bit more room, just making a pillow for the forehead. Imagine now you're able to relax all of your effort, breathing into the back body. Take one more nice deep breath here. And then you can plant your palms under your shoulders, press up either to tabletop or downward facing dog, or skip all of that altogether, and we'll come up to a forward fold. So to get up off of the floor, you can step 1 foot forward. I'm using sort of my problematic knee, the knee I fell on, to step that knee forward. You can use blocks underneath your hands or climb your hands onto a chair, and then you might tuck the back toes under and lift the back knee, and then walk your feet together to find that forward fold. Maybe you use both hands on blocks for support, and then we'll inhale to lift up halfway with a flat back, keeping a long neck, gaze low towards the ground. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale for halfway lift. You can either press your hands into the chair, blocks, or your legs, and then exhale to forward fold. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. And then with the next inhale, we're going to rise to stand so you can find a little spring load in your legs. Sweep your arms up to the sides. Exhale, draw the hands to the heart center. And we'll find mountain pose, Tadasana. Making any adjustments that you need. Let's take a moment to find standing. Allow your arms to rest at your sides. Maybe close down the eyes or soften the gaze, and you could even bring your hands to meet at your heart center or rest your hands on your heart. Come back into that intention of non-stealing, remembering to honor our own uniqueness, our own journey. And then you can blink your eyes open. We're going to find some standing twists. So go ahead and inhale your arms up towards the sky. Exhale to draw your hands to your heart center in prayer. And then just like a fountain, we're going to inhale, reach the arms up. You won't be able to see my hands once they reach above my head, but you're going to part your hands so that the right hand is coming forward, the left hand is coming back, finding a twist for the upper back. Bring the hands back to the heart, reach the hands up. This time the left arm comes forward, right hand comes back into a twist. And go ahead and find that 2 more times on each side. A little upper back twist. The next time you come back to center, you can pause in your mountain pose. And then we're going to take some movement in and out of bird pose. So I'll turn to the side so you can see me. We're going to take some movement between chair and bird. So for chair, you can start to sink your hips back as if you were going to be sitting in a chair. You might reach your arms forward for a counterbalance. And then as you inhale, you can come forward, press your palms back, and lift your heels any amount. Exhale for chair. Inhale for bird. Go ahead and take a few more rounds. And notice how you can make this more challenging or more gentle. After that last one, you can stay lifted up, your heels lifted. You might reach your fingertips up towards the sky. And then on the next exhale, lower your heels, lower your hands. We're going to come back into a standing mountain pose. From here, I thought we would do a balance pose. And this one, you might use a chair or a wall for support. This one is called dancer pose. So for dancer, you can balance your hand on the chair. You can bring your weight into your right leg, and then you might start kicking your heel into your hand. Maybe you can catch your foot. This is kind of a nice quad stretch here. If it's feeling out of reach, you might use the strap here instead. And you'll definitely want something to help you balance if you're going to put a strap around your foot. So I'm going to put the strap in a loop around my left foot. I have a nice long strap, so I can wrap the strap around and bring the tail of the strap over my shoulder. I think I can. And then what you can do is start to draw the foot up, and we're finding a quad stretch here, balancing on that right leg. Now, if you're feeling brave about your balance here, you could reach that right hand up, but just know that you can always tap that foot back down. You're holding on with your left hand. So you can stay balancing here. Find the dristi, the simple gaze point, and then feel that stretch of the quad. And you might even start to tilt from your hips, kicking the foot back as you tilt the torso forward. And whenever you feel ready, go ahead and release this side, release the strap, allow your arms to gently graze your sides, just shaking it all off. And then we're so lucky we have two sides, mostly symmetrical. So if you want to try it with or without the strap, I'm going to move the chair onto the other side for support. You can have your left hand on the chair. You might wrap your right foot with the strap and then have the strap over your shoulder. So I have a loop around my foot, the strap over my shoulder, but you can also do this without the strap, just kicking your foot into your hand. So holding on for support, rooting down through the left foot, you can start to glide that strap. I'm just pulling the strap over my shoulder to bend the knee. And you can stay right here, focusing on a simple gaze point at the floor, fixed place that's not moving. You could also hinge forward, kick your foot back. Feel free to explore balancing by releasing the hand from support, as long as you know that you can always come back to standing. You can always stay upright, just finding that stretch for the quad. So lots of variations, remembering that each of these shapes is infinite. Maybe you work on just a little bit of balance by also feeling the engagement of your low belly, drawing towards your spine. Whenever you're ready, you can release this side, step both feet onto the mat, and give it a little shake. When you're ready, we're going to be coming down onto our backs and getting ready for our final resting pose. So feel free to find any props that you might like. Remember, you can also use a seated shavasana for rest. You can also use a bed. I think I was showing that last time if you want to avoid like getting up and down again from the floor. So I think I'll use the bed this time. Once you come onto your seat, go ahead and hug your knees in. We're going to find happy baby pose. So you can hug your knees in, cupping behind your thighs, or reaching up towards your ankles or your feet. And this is really like an upside down squat. You might allow yourself an opportunity to rock here side to side. Once more, breathing into the hips. If you'd like, you can grab onto your ankles and start to rotate your feet, lubricating the joints of your ankles. And then you have the option to find any other shapes you'd like, or use this whole entire time for rest in Shavasana. Maybe you want to come back to one of the shapes we've done in the previous classes, like figure four pose, to stretch through the hip. And that was the one where we put our ankle on our opposite thigh and draw the shape in by either resting your foot, right foot or your left foot, on to some support, or hugging the shape into the body. But maybe this is a good opportunity to find a bit more rest. When you're ready for your final rest, you can allow your forehead to soften. Close down the eyes or soften the gaze. Release the hinge of your jaw. Allow your shoulders to rest heavy on the earth. The jewel of Asteya, or non-stealing, calls us to live with integrity and reciprocity. The tenet of Asteya, or non-stealing, asks us to shift our focus from others to ourselves. It asks us to get excited about the possibilities of our own life. When we attend to our own growth and learning in the areas of our interest, we are engaged in the joy and challenge of building ourselves. From the fullness of our own talent and skill, we automatically serve the world rather than steal from it. When we focus on our own dreams, we can move forward with dignity. We can begin to build our competency and create circumstances within us to have what we want. The Sanskrit word adhikara means the right to know or the right to have. This word challenges us to the reality that if we want something, then we better grow the competency required to have it. Building our adhikara is plugging our holes by growing our competency in the area of our desires. Building our competency takes practice and learning. Asteya or non-stealing demands that we become capable of stewarding what we asked for. This jewel asks us to focus on our desires and then build the competency to have them. It leaves us with the question, are you available for what you want? It opens the doors for us to seek out mentors and learn from people who have already accomplished what we are seeking. It also opens the door for the fun of learning new things. Building our competency opens up a world of joy and possibility. It is a grand adventure to turn our attention away from stealing and towards the lifelong task of shaping ourselves into someone of value. Albert Einstein said, 1,000 times a day I remind myself that my inner and outer life depend on the labors of other people, living and dead, and that I must exert myself in order to give in the full measure I have received and am still receiving. You can take this time to deepen your breath. Maybe turn your gaze towards the intention you set at your heart center. Imagine it as a glowing jewel. And with your inhale breath, allow the colors to glow brightly, filling your body with light. On your exhale breath, allow it to deepen, darken, fade. Take 3 more nice deep breaths like this. And then you can begin to gently rotate your wrists and ankles. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Find a nice, deep, long body stretch. Reaching your arms past your ears. You can roll onto one side and find yourself cradled there in a fetal position. Whenever you feel ready, press into your seat and rise up to seated. You can invite your hands to meet at your heart center in a gesture of gratitude, Anjali Mudra, and then allow your head to gently bow towards the wisdom of your loving heart. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. Such an honor and a privilege to have you here with me. Thank you for allowing me to guide you through your practice this morning. So let me know if you have any thoughts or questions about class.